everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review for the Breville Smart Oven Air with convection. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm super excited to be sharing this review with you guys. Yes, this is another air fryer. I personally have been searching for the perfect air fryer that has other features as well. So if you're looking for the perfect gift for your loved ones over the holidays, this is definitely a must. The Breville Smart Oven Air actually does it all. There's so many different features on here. It was really hard to kind of pick out a favorite or what I like the most about it because I actually really like everything about it. I know, it's really crazy. So what I'd like to go over first is what it actually comes with. Now in the box, it's going to come with a 13-inch non-stick pizza pan. It's going to come with 2 wire racks that are stainless steel that you can position to multiple places in the oven. It comes with a 9x13 broiling rack, a 9x13 enamel roasting pan, and last but not least, the air fry dehydrating basket. So it's important to note that before you actually start using the machine, just like with anything else, you want to make sure that you wash all of the parts. Another thing to note that you want to make sure you do, Breville states that you want to prepare your oven by allowing it to run for 20 minutes on the pizza cycle. Now what this does is it actually removes any type of coating that might be on the heating elements. Now don't worry, this is actually not something that is poisonous to you or that is going to be crazy and smell up your whole household. Now, before I go over the features, I just want to note that a lot of the settings are very, very similar. In other words, the toasting setting, you're allowed to change the temperature, you're allowed to change the darkness, and so on. Now with the toast setting, you can actually choose between light and dark, and you can also actually put in how many pieces of bread that you're going to be toasting. The bagel setting is very similar. You pick how many slices you're going to have and also how dark you would like the bagel slices to be. Now you'll notice with the broil, bake, roast, and other settings that you can change the temperature, you can change between high and low and medium, you can change the time, but you can also add convection and super convection or actually just choose to turn that off altogether. One of the things that I really appreciate about this oven is the fact that it has a warm setting. My regular oven does not go below a certain degree, so it's kind of impossible to be able to heat things up without really like watching it and opening the door and checking on it. With the smart oven, all you have to do is set it on the warm setting, and you can actually change the temperature for that as well. One setting that I'm really excited to start using is the proof setting. So for those of you that like to bake your own breads and things like that, you can actually just stick the dough in there and let it rise. So that's super easy to do. You don't have to worry about changing any temperatures. You don't have to worry about, the humidity in your household, and it just makes life a lot simpler if you're into baking breads. So the air fry feature is probably something that a lot of you are going to be using the oven for initially in the first place. This is actually pretty awesome because yes, you can change the temperature. You can choose if you want to have frozen foods in there or not. You can also choose to have super convection, regular convection, or not even use convection at all. The reheat feature is really useful if you're not wanting to use your microwave and you're also not wanting to technically cook your foods. The cookie setting is very simple as well. Just like with all of the other settings, you can actually choose the temperature, you can choose the time, and you can actually also add convection and super convection on that as well. Another unique feature that this machine actually has is a slow cooker feature. So if you're currently using one of those big pots, you can now actually use just one piece of equipment to do it all. The last feature that I'd like to talk about is the dehydrating feature. I personally actually got a gigantic dehydrator a while back, like some years back when dehydrating was like, super popular. And I can actually just do it with this machine now. So that's pretty awesome. I want to show you a couple things on the oven that makes things kind of easier and more simpler to use. If you look on the glass door, it actually has little teeny notches written on there of where to actually place the racks for cooking certain types of foods. There is, of course, a light button, but I think this is pretty standard with a lot of smart ovens. So a nice little added feature on this machine is the phase cook button. Now, what is phase cook? For those of you that do a lot of baking, phase cook actually might prove useful. What it does is it actually changes the temperature and settings right in the middle, so you don't actually have to manually go in and change it. An example for this would be maybe putting in a cheesecake, and it initially needs to be cooked at a certain temperature but lowered to a different temperature towards like maybe 15 or 20 minutes right before it's done cooking. This will actually automatically do that for you. So you can set 2 different temperatures and times, and it automatically switches and does it for you. All right, so the very last button that I want to talk about is the temperature conversion button. So for those of you that are used to Fahrenheit or Celsius, you can actually change that on the machine. So what I'd like to talk about now is what I personally liked in the Breville Smart Oven Air. Now, one of the main things that I'm going to be using it for is toasting. And if I'm comparing it to other ovens that I've used before, this one in particular actually toasts so much better. I feel like the other one that I did a review on, even though I did like the toasting feature, it did take a longer time. It did toast good, but it just took a longer time. Now with this one, I feel like it toasts more uniformly, more evenly, and just a little bit quicker. So last night I did some air frying and I tested out some chicken breasts. One thing I really want to note though is to be careful with what type of equipment that you want to use for cooking anything that has anything that's going to be dripping down at the bottom, because of the fact that the basket can get kind of clogged up if you do something like that, if you cook like chicken or whatever. I would actually use the broil pan that comes with the rack, and you can still set that on an air fry setting. This catches all the juices and it's a lot easier to clean up. So here's the tip for you guys. One thing that I would do if you're really picky about keeping your machine clean and you also just want to reduce a mess, when you're using that air fry basket, even when you're cooking something like French fries, things can basically drop down through that basket. And so in order to prevent having a mess and extra crumbs down at the bottom, what I would do is I would actually take that roasting pan and just sit that on the bottom rack at the very bottom of the oven. And that will actually help reduce a lot of mess and help clean up a lot easier. So the air fry setting was awesome. I cooked some chicken breasts in there and the outside was crispy like it should be, and the inside was juicy, wasn't dry or anything like that. Another feature that I ended up using was the broil feature. I cooked a couple hamburgers in there and I was actually really surprised at how fast it cooked them. Okay, so if you're looking for dimensions, it is actually 21 1/4 by 17 1/4 by 12 1/4 inches high. The inside is 1 cubic foot and it actually weighs 38 pounds and 14 ounces. For those that are interested in wattage, it's actually 1800 watts. All right, so now that I've got all of that out of the way, how do you clean the machine? Please make sure you don't use anything abrasive, anything metal, anything that's going to scratch it. You can actually use on like the racks and things like that, you can actually use one of those non-scratch side of one of those sponges that has like the non-scratch but scrubbing side. You can actually use one of those successfully without scratching the machine, but I wouldn't actually use it on the actual oven itself. So in other words, make sure that you are using something soft, like a soft, wet cloth that has maybe a little bit of soap on it and just kind of lightly go over the whole machine. Same thing on the inside. It obviously has the non-stick coating on the inside of the oven, so you want to be careful not to scratch that up, but it cleans up really, really easily. And as long as you're using the proper placements and not like overfilling the machine, then you really shouldn't have too much of an issue with messes. So that's all I have for you guys. I'm absolutely loving this machine. Please make sure if you have any questions at all, put them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and definitely share with family and friends. I will see you guys next time.